Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Clifford Park. What a beautiful morning, beautiful week. One equine Weetwood week. And welcome along today to Trackside with the Stars, our Weetwood preview. And we're going to have quite a few gallopers today, horses going towards feature races this weekend. And overall, we've got 19 horses that will be galloping on the course proper. So we'll get to see close up and personal some of the leading candidates going towards the races this weekend. Blessed with beautiful weather today, and we will be all week. Trackers looking an absolute picture. Credit to John Rutherford and the team for the work that they've done. Had some ordinary weather a couple of months ago, but it's beautiful this week, and it will be leading up to grand final day for one equine Weetwood and Tab Toowoomba Cup Day. First horse galloping today will be Trapport from the Harry Richardson stable, nominated for the Weetwood Handicap. Young Rose Thornton, regular track rider for Harry, will be on board Trapport, and he'll be parading in the enclosure shortly. He'll be the first horse to head out. We've got the Ipswich Cup winner Flash R to gallop later on, headed of course towards the Toowoomba Cup. Worthy enough in the Michael Nolan yard, nominated for the new look Magic Millions Guineas, which is now over 1,200. The top mare Exotic Miss, aiming towards the Weetwood, will gallop with Cifrado. Cifrado will gallop with the stablemate. Exotic Miss will be solo on her work. And quite a few from the Mark Courage stable and the Corey and Kylie Guerin yard, including Nikau Spur. Will be aiming towards the Cup, of course. We'll gallop later on. And looking forward to seeing Tavs as well from the Courage stable, nominated for the Weetwood. And Will Crop will have Smart Filly Sweet Pretender along with Sun Worshipper a little bit later on as well. So it's a good lineup. And we'll kick it off shortly. Trapport will be the first galloper out on the course proper with Rose Thornton on board riding for Harry Richardson. Beautiful morning, and it will continue to be that all week. And we've got the brekkie down there, and hope you're all having a wonderful morning. It's a great day to be out and about at Clifford Park. And, of course, we'll continue with the barrier draw tomorrow for our two feature races, the Weetwood and the Cup, and then roll towards the Sportsman's Lunch, the Calcutta Friday, and the big race day, one equine Weetwood Handicap Day, this Saturday afternoon. So, Trapport with Rose Thornton riding is out on the course proper now. First horse to gallop this morning. Nominated for the Weetwood Handicap. He's been a wonderful campaigner for Harry and owners Frank and Judy Manwary. He kicked off in Victoria, but he's been up here in Queensland since the end of 2023, so nigh on 2 years up in this part of the world. And he's had 2 runs back from a spell at Ipswich and Doomben. It was only 3.5 behind the smart Weigel Tiger at his most recent run. He's won in town. He's a Metro winner back in January and got Space Tracker and I'm a True Star form. So he's mixed it in some good Metro company, Trapport, and been unlucky on more than one occasion as well. So he's up near the 1,400 now. Rose Thornton riding, who's Harry's regular track work rider, so knows the horse well. And is making their way, just walking along up near the 1250 metre marker now. Working by the 1,300 chute, then down the back straight. So he resumed at 1,100, was only beaten 1.3 to She's Exotic, and then did a good job behind Weigel Tiger at Doomben a few weeks ago. Rose just moving along a little bit quicker now, not going fast overall, but just getting out of the walk, and obviously he's going to click up down the side and then up the home running. Despite the fact he's trained here at Clifford Park, I don't think he's ever actually raced at the track. When you go through his form, he's obviously done the bulk of his racing in town. He's raced well in good metro company at that Class 6 78 benchmark level. He's nom for a couple of other races on the day as a backup plan as well. So Trapport about to make his way out of the back and work down past the 800, then down by the famous Weetwood stand. And then no doubt click up in the home straight. It'll be wonderful to see some talented horse flesh step out over this beautiful track. It's in wonderful order leading into Weetwood Day. There'll be no rain or heavy 8 this year, I wouldn't think. So here is Trapport with Rose Thornton riding, about to swing around the home turn, just inside the 400-metre marker now. And making his way towards the outside of the track. And striding out Trapport, he's come back in good form. He's had 2 runs back from a spell. And third up, leading into Weetwood Day, Trapport, trained by Harry Richardson and Rose Thornton in the saddle there. And good luck to Harry with Trapport and Frank and Judy Manwaring, who I've known personally for a long time, but good friends and clients of the Richardson Yard. And I wish them all the best with Trapport heading towards Weetwood Handicap Day this Saturday. Now coming out onto the track, 2 from the Michael Nolan Yard, Worthy Enough, with Michael's daughter Mia riding, and Sebastian Kent with that red cap on is on board, Uncommon Valor. So the 2 stepping out here, Uncommon Valor and Worthy Enough. Worthy Enough is Guineas bound, the new look Guineas over the 1200, and his partner Uncommon Valor nominated for the mile benchmark 80. So they're the 2 out on the course proper in the home straight now. So Uncommon Valor in the red cap at the moment. It's on the inside of Worthy Enough. A red cap on Uncommon Valor, who didn't race for a while, but he's come back in good form, winning second up at Warwick after having not raced for 9 a year. So Sebastian's got the red cap on Uncommon Valor, and Mia Nolan on board Worthy Enough. Going towards the Guineas by Worthy, cause out of Sassy Enough. And resumed at Doomben recently and ran well behind Foreign Press and stick to the script. So he's always shown good talent, Worthy Enough. One on debut at Warwick off the bad gate, got back and powered home to win that day. So has shown good talent from minute 1. And then made his Clifford Park debut earlier in the year after winning the maiden at Warwick, and went to town after that and has been placed at Doomben on a couple of occasions. So he's measured up in town and building a good record. 5 starts and has been in the top 3 on 4 of those 5 occasions. Michael's going to have a strong team. Of course, Exotic Myths going towards the Weetwood, and there's 2 galloping now. And the red cap, Uncommon Valor, Sebastian Kent, and Worthy Enough, Mia Nolan. At the moment, he's working outside Uncommon Valor. He's been a tough campaigner, Uncommon Valor, for a while. He's a 6-year-old, but he came back off that long spell. He needed the run for the start, but then he was impressive, winning at Warwick in a decent open handicap there. And he's set to peak again, third up, going to the mile here Saturday in the benchmark 80. Could be 2 young riders we'll hear more of going ahead as well. Sebastian Kent, who's with the Lindsay Hatch stable, and Mia Nolan, of course, Michael's daughter. And galloping together here with Mia on Worthy Enough, and Sebastian's on Uncommon Valor. Looks like Uncommon Valor will work on the inside of Worthy Enough as they make their way down the back near the 1,000-metre start, just at the 1050-metre chute at the moment. Just obviously cruising along at a sedate speed as they do, and then click them up the last 600. Give them a good look around on what's a beautiful morning here and taste of what's to come on a weather front. It's a funny town, Toowoomba. It can give you the worst of weather, and we can be dished up some beautiful days as well. So Uncommon Valor and Worthy Enough about to head down the side of the track. Worthy Enough had a little break after the run at Doomben back in June. He did have much luck with barriers on a couple of occasions. 11 of 11, 10 of 10, 10 of 12. But when he's drawn a gate, he's won from a bad gate, but he's measured up in town off a decent draw. So hopefully the barrier draw is going to be kind to him. Second up into the Guineas over the 1200. He's outside Uncommon Valor here, who've needed the run first up, didn't race for nearly a year. They were a bit too slick for him first up, as he was good at Warwick second up. So here comes Uncommon Valor and Worthy Enough making their way around the home turn. Uncommon Valor, red cap, Sebastian Kent and young Mia Nolan on board. Worthy Enough on the outside. So Uncommon Valor joined here by Worthy Enough, and there won't be much between them when they hit the line. And they'll split it just about locked together. If anything, Worthy Enough probably just touching off Uncommon Valor right on the line. But good work from that pair. And good luck to Michael and the connections. Worthy Enough going towards the Guineas, and Uncommon Valor nominated in the mile benchmark 80. Look, ideal targets for them both. Uncommon Valor third up, and Worthy Enough second up going into the New Look Guineas over the 6 furlongs. On the track now is Flash R, trained by Troy Pascoe. Emily Haas is on board Flash R. Oh no, marvel, he's been a 10-year-old now. He's had 8 trainers, Flash R. But he's still racing well. He, of course, won the Ipswich Cup back in June and hasn't been too far away in recent races over the 14 and mile. So going towards the Cup, stepping up to the 2000 is going to be ideal for him. He's a 10-year-old Flash R. He debuted in a Townsville maiden back in November 2018. So 9 on 7 years he's been racing for. And he's had some stable changes. He's raced well in Victoria, runner-up on a Sale Cup, and he was down there for quite some time with the Busserton and Young Yard. Of course, as I say, won the Ipswich Cup this year, back at the end of the Winter Carnival. He won a real good race at Bendigo a few years ago, runner-up at Flemington. So he's really matched it in some good company throughout his career. He's obviously tough as teak. He's travelled around a lot, and Troy's done a great job with him. He's by Lucas Cranach, so obviously he's bred to get over some ground. His last run at Doomben, he ran 7th, but he wasn't beaten all that far at the end of a mile. He was dropping back from the 1800, so getting back to the 2000 plus should be ideal for him in the Cup. As I say, won the Ipswich Cup. He ran well at Caloundra before that. Even when he was early in his prep over 12 and 1300, he was running good races there over unsuitable trips. Jeff Court trained him for a period up north, and he raced well in some of the Cup races up there. As I say, that stint in Victoria is debuted in Townsville. He's won early on in his career at Dolby, so he's been around for a while, but he's a real tough campaigner. He's actually only had 51 starts for a 10-year-old, but he's, as I say, raced well in good company. Won the Ipswich Cup earlier in the year at the end of the carnival, and a little break after the Caloundra Cup. And he's had 3 runs back at 14.18 back to a mile. So you think getting back up to the Cup trip this weekend will be ideal for him. Flash R. Emily Hart is on board Flash R today. Trained, of course, by Troy Pascoe. And Troy's done a great job with Flash R. Has had him since probably earlier. Might have been actually last year he picked up a horse. He had a stint where he didn't race for a while. In fact, he had about nearly a year and a half off. So credit to Troy and the horse himself to bounce back from that stint he had off the track. And here he is striding out on the home running Flash R, the Ipswich Cup winner. And Emily Hart riding Flash R, striding out over the Clifford Park turf, the final 100 metres, aiming towards the Tab Toowoomba Cup. And good luck to the connections of Flash R in the Cup this weekend. The 10-year-old, he's a bit of an old marvel, looking for another Cup victory after scoring in the Ipswich Cup back in June. So Cifrado and his partner is Azafran galloping here from the Ret Slip Yard. Nathan Fazzacoli riding Cifrado. And Kenji Yoshida is on board Azafran. Cifrado is going to be near to top weight, I'd say, in the Weetwood, with his rating up around the 100 mark. He'll be attacking the Weetwood furthest up since May. Has had 2 trials, and obviously what's going to be a solid workout for him today, you'd imagine. Didn't go to plan in the King of the Mountain on that wet track, but Miss Jolene form after that, and he took on Hot Company in the Carnival. And you go back through, see Hidden Wealth and Transatlantic form. This high caliber Cifrado, he's earned 1.7 million. So he's up there with the best in this part of the world for sure when you go through his record. And Nathan Fazzacoli riding here. Kenji Yoshida's on Azafran, who's just out in front of Cifrado at the moment. Azafran nominated for one of the support races on the card. And who's a bit of a bunny for Cifrado at the moment, going out a few lengths ahead of him. Just look at the noms for the Weetwood. He's a 101 raider, so he's going to be top weight. There's 98 Natuno, Shah of Gomez, the Big Goodbye, the Inflictor in the 90s as well as far as handicap ratings go, but he's 101 Cifrado, so he'll be top weight in the Weetwood. So top weight Weetwood to win it first up won't be an easy task for him, but he's top class as we know, and he's had those 2 trials and the Gallop today to keep him ticking along. And a bit pear-shaped in the King of the Mountain, as we know, on that wet track, but it was good to see him bounce back in Brisbane after that. Normally a back marker, but if it's run with good tempo, on which you can't imagine, it wouldn't be a run like the Weetwood. And he's a sort of horse that can get back and really power home. His partner here, Azafran, is nominated for the Fillies and Mares 78 benchmark. Kenji Yoshida riding Azafran. Nathan Fazzacoli on board Cifrado, and he's starting to really eat into that margin now. Cifrado is only about a length behind Azafran. As I say, being used as somewhat of a bunny in this Gallop Azafran to go out in front of Cifrado, and as you'd anticipate, Cifrado's pretty quickly reeled her in, and they match their strides at the 400 metre marker. Kenji on Azafran, 6 for Zackley on Cifrado. Azafran put under some pressure. Cifrado's quickly reeled her in and got in front. And he's looking good, Cifrado, on his work here. And got about a length in front of Azafran, and he's starting to move away. It's lovely work from the top weight for the Weetwood. Cifrado winning that gallop by about 2 lengths on the line from Azafran. So good luck to Brett Slip and the Connections, both owned of the same interest, but Cifrado, of course, headed towards the Weetwood. And he's a top notcher when you look through Hidden Well, Prince of Burn, Transatlantic, Hidden Well form. And looks like he's on target to run a great race in the Weetwood this weekend. Of course, he won the Champagne as a 2-year-old. He won the Sires at Group 2 level as a 2-year-old. So he's been up in that upper echelon pretty much from day one. Won the Vogue at Doomben as a 3-year-old. And he's remained at that high level pretty much all the way throughout his career. And he'll carry top weight. Won't be an easy assignment for him, but as we've seen there, he's obviously ticking along very well. He's had those 2 trials and looked good in his work there under Nathan Fazackerley, taking up that gallop quite comfortably in the end. Cifrado, who'll be top weight for the 1 equine Weetwood this Saturday. Here's Exotic Mids out on the course proper now. Mia Nolan on board. Was top class mare. She's a rating 99 thereabouts leading in to the weekend, so she'll be near to top weight with Cifrado. And she's had 1 trial at Dolby after that run in the Tiara. Ran a great race there under Rachel King to run 4th at Group 1 level behind the likes of Tashi and Abounding. And strong form over the carnival before that. And one memory I've got of Exotic Mids during my calling career was the day that she won at Eagle Farm by 10 back in January 2024. And she'd always look smart, but she just went to another level that day, albeit a midweeker, but she just blew them off the park that day, and then went on to win the Daybreak Lover, beating the likes of Transatlantic and Press Link. So I think probably always knew she was above average, but she just showed there that she went to another level and had a wonderful 3-year-old year. As I say, winning the Daybreak Lover. And as a 4-year-old, placed or near place, ran 4th in the Group 1 Tiara at Eagle Farm behind Tashi and Abounding. So she's really going to be one of the leading hopes. She'll be first up into the Weetwood, as Cifrado will be as well. But both top class, and just had that little tick over trial at Dolby recently, and no doubt Mia knows her very well, and she's up near the 1400 now. Exotic Mids, owned by some heavy hitters in the Toowoomba district. Deputy Chairman Paul Reedy, his wife Yvette in the ownership, and Ashton as well, and Sean Buckle, Chris Tate. And good luck team with this wonderful mare in the Weetwood Saturday. Always a target to try and win one of your features on your home track, and certainly will be for the Exotic Mids crew. Binder the Louvre, of course, won at Stradbroke back in 2016 when he had that great tussle with Blackheart Bart. This mare's a 5-time winner overall, and won the Daybreak Lover as a 3-year-old, and 4th in the Group 1 Tiara, which was a career best for her, even though not in victory, but against some top class mares. And she had no luck in the run either. Was only beaten 2.5 and should have finished closer. So great to see her this morning. Exotic Mids, trained by Michael Nolan. His daughter Mia on board Exotic Mids here as they work their way down the side, past the Weetwood stand and beyond. Remember correctly, she won first up last prep as well when she won at Eagle Farm. So she races well in that fashion. And here she comes around the home corner at the 300. Exotic Mitts. Mia Nolan riding for Father Michael here. And working down the home straight at beautiful Clifford Park. Exotic Mitts striding out. Good luck to Michael and all the connections of Exotic Mitts. Weetwood bound, and we'll see what gate she draws tomorrow with a barrier draw around the 11 o'clock mark on the QES deck here at Clifford Park. That's tomorrow as we continue one equine. So our Magnus and 4 riders now out on the course proper and galloping in their race day colours as well, which is a big help. Thank you to everyone for that. The red and white colours on 4 riders with Corey Bayless on board. And our Magnus is being ridden by Gary Gear and, of course, Corey's dad, Kylie's husband. He's back from riding a couple in Birdsville, where he's had success in the Cup there on a couple of occasions. We'll call him the comeback king out of retirement. He's done it once or twice. One of the most experienced and best horsemen you'll get in this part of the world, as we know. And he's on board our Magnus, who was runner-up in the selected seed Starthy Caesars here on Pink Ribbon Cup night behind Kinross Lane. Of course, he won the King of the Mountain Constellation here and ran a great race on Weetwood Day last year as well when runner-up behind Battlefield. So he's nommed in the Weetwood. The 78 1200 will be the backup plan for him. And 4 oaths going towards the 1300 BM70. Has been a good find for the stable and the new owners, 4 owners. He was in Victoria and he raced down there before heading up north, and of course he won here at Clifford Park 2 runs back. Just had the 2 starts up here. Finished down the track in town, but he's back to his what's now his home track, which will suit him better, you'd imagine. But our Magnus has been a great campaigner for the Corey and Kylie Gear and Yard. He kicked off for the stable in late 2022, so pushing 3 years, and he's a solid Metro galloper. You can see a lot of Metro form there with him. He romped him when he won the King of the Mountain Constellation on that wet track. He was very, very impressive there. He beat Sky Forger, who of course won one of the country features in Brisbane, the Country Cup Challenge, and that day won the Constellation. He beat his stablemate Ma Baby, who wasn't far behind Rothfire in the King of the Mountain the year before. Did a good job first up behind Kinross Lane and the Starthy Caesars. As I say, the Fitzroy form and Miss Jolene form, Cifrado before that. So that's the level that he's at, our Magnus. He's working outside 4 race here. So Corey Bayless, 4 race in the red and white. Gary Gearon on our Magnus, who's got his normal race day silks on the white, green and black. And there's not much between the two. 4 race on the inside of our Magnus. And they'll hit the line 4 race. Just went in the Gallop by about ahead to our Magnus. So good work from both. We'll see more runners from the Gearon stable shortly with Nikau, Spur and Marinaro, both cup bound. And Jack Be Lucky, nominated for the Weetwood, will step out as well with Last Chance Saloon. But 4 runners, just nosing out our Magnus in that gallop there. Corey Bayless and Gary Gearon on those 2 respectively. Lethal on his day when he was putting those wins together in Brisbane back in April and May, was airborne, and The Inflictor Transatlantic form very strong as well. He's had 2 trials, late August and September, and this hit out today. So similar to Exotic Miss and Cifrado, and as far as they're attacking the race first up. And at the moment, Tavs just going along a little bit behind, Chinchilla ahead. Norinitio riding. It was a solid win last time out, Chinchilla ahead when he won. The format of that race has been very strong. Downey ran well in town over the weekend. Take a picture since won in Brisbane as well. So it was a very strong 62 that he won, Chinchilla ahead, and he carried weight to score as well. So he races well on his home track, and he's in good form coming out of a hot benchmark race last time. He's nommed in 3 races for Saturday, so there's a few options there for Mark, just to see, I'd say, with acceptances and barrier draws as to where they go with Chinchilla ahead. But he ran well on that blanket finish behind 4 owners. Got a bit rough and tumble in that race with the protest, but he came out and looked good winning his net start. And as I say, there's been good form out of that with Downey racing well in town last weekend. And Take a Picture was impressive winning in Brisbane as well. So good form lines around him. Chinchilla ahead. He leads out in front of Tavs in this gallop, but I expect Tavs to quickly eat into that margin. You'd reckon, look at him galloping with the neck arch there, Tavs. Up a little bit higher now, but he's pretty low head carriage in the gallop. Brooke Mackey riding, just 2 or 3 lengths behind Chinchilla ahead at the moment, as they make their way down the side of Clifford Park. So Chinchilla ahead about a length in front of Tavs, who's quickly made up ground on his stablemate. That would have been the plan, though, no doubt, to let Chinchilla go out in front of him. And Tavs is ranged up on his outside now, and might have just got his nose in front coming around the home turn. Tavs on the outside of Chinchilla ahead as they work down the final 150. So Tavs about ahead in front of Chinchilla ahead. As they work down to the line, Tavs holding a narrow margin and will win that gallop by about a head or so from Chinchilla ahead. But good work from both. Another one attacking the Weetwood first up, Tavs. And Chinchilla ahead's got a good record on his home track, and as we say, brings strong form lines out of that 62 that he won here. So there's a few options there as to where he'll go. He's nom for a few races on the day, but I don't think he could be going a great deal better. So we'll just see with acceptances and barrier draw as to where he's going to go. But Tavs winning that gallop. Brooke Mackey on board, just edging out Chinchilla ahead, ridden by Norinitio. Corey and Kylie Gear and Yard we head with Jack Be Lucky and Last Chance Saloon galloping. Jack Be Lucky nominated for the Weetwood. Last Chance Saloon in a mile benchmark AD 1300 class 6. So interesting to see which way they might go with him. His last run was at a mile. Corey Bayliss on board Last Chance Saloon. So Jack Be Lucky is being ridden by Gary Gear and Last Chance Saloon for Corey Bayliss, and they're over in the back near the 1200 now. Jack Be Lucky is going to work on the inside of Last Chance Saloon. He's been a real good campaigner for quite some time. Jack Be Lucky is an 11-time winner. What about 17 seconds and 2/3? Was it 30 times out of 45? He's been in the top 3. You'd love to have a stable full of him. And he resumed in to start the Cetus and was midfield there behind Kinross Lane. I've seen him in a lot of country cups. He made the Battle of the Bush final. He drew the car park there Didn't have much luck in that race behind Peshawar, but he's been runner-up in the Battle of the Bush before that behind Tiger Legend. So I think it's twice he's qualified for that final in Brisbane, but he's a beauty. Jack Be Lucky with that record that he's got. He's working inside Last Chance Saloon. Corey Bayliss on board him. And he's been in great form since relocating to Toowoomba. He's had 4 runs for the Gear and Yard for 2 wins and a couple of thirds, one of those being in town in Class 6 Saturday grade behind Walsh Bay and Battleton. He's 2 wins here. He narrowly beat the Deputy back in August, and then he brained them when he won here 2 starts ago. Settled about 2/3 down through the field and just really towed them up on the home straight with Last Chance Saloon. He's working outside Jack Be Lucky here. So Jack Be Lucky, Gary Gearin on the inside of Last Chance Saloon, Corey Bayliss. Last Chance Saloon with the blue blinkers has probably just won that from Jack Be Lucky. Not a great deal between them though, but he's got some decision making to do. Corey and the Gear and Yard, which way they go with him in an 80 mile of a Class 6 1300. Whether they keep him at a mile that he was at Eagle Farm or drop him back to 13. We'll see what the plan will be there. Jack Be Lucky nominated for the Weetwood handicap on the back of that first up run in the Starthy Cedars. So as I say, 30 times out of 45, he's been in the top 3, Jack Be Lucky. Love to have them all like him, so honest with that record. And Last Chance Saloon, he's a 5-time winner in his own right from 19 starts. So both been in good form for the Gear and Yard. He's been flying since relocating up here. Last Chance Saloon. And he and Jack Be Lucky there in that gallop with Last Chance Saloon probably winning narrowly. Coming out from the Crop team, Sweet Pretender for Will Crop and Sun Worshipper trained by his father Matt. Kelsey Lenton's on board Sweet Pretender. Nori Nishio riding Sun Worshipper. And they're the 2 out on the course proper now. Sweet Pretender, Guineas bound. Galloping with Sun Worshipper, of course, went as far as the Queensland Oaks over the Carnival and ran a great race there. She was only beaten 3.8 in the end. So looking like Sweet Pretender will work on the inside of Sun Worshipper at the moment. Kelsey Lenton on board the Zusane filly, trained by Will Crop. Sweet Pretender aiming towards the New Look Guineas. Sun Worshipper, Nori Nishio. Sweet Pretender went to the Atkins. It didn't work out there that day in Brisbane, but she was 3rd in the Callaway Gal at Eagle Farm, so that was the level that she was at on her best form. And of course, Sun Worshipper only beaten 3.8 in the Queensland Oaks as well over the Winter Carnival. Sun Worshipper nommed in 78 fillies and mares and the 70 over 1300, so there'll be the resuming points for her, one way or the other, as to which way they'll go. Only time will tell. Acceptances, of course, coming out around about the 9 o'clock mark tomorrow. Sweet Pretender nommed for the Guineas. So had one trial here recently, about nearly a month or so ago. And she'll work inside Sun Worshipper here. Kelsey Lenton on Sweet Pretender and Nori Nishio on board Sun Worshipper will work outside Sweet Pretender by the look of it. Only about a length between them as they just cruise down the back near the 1,000-metre marker now. Sweet Pretender debuted in the Pat O'Shea, bumped into Casino Bay in that race earlier in the year, and went to the Capricorn Yielding Sales race in Rocky, ran a great race there behind Kersner. So always been a fairly good talent. Third on the Callaway Gal at Eagle Farm. And she's only won the one race, but she's better than that. When you look at some of her minor placings and the form there around her, and drew the car park in the Atkins and didn't pan out for her that day, but that was all the Phyllis campaign between March and June. She had 6 starts, so she did a wonderful job. And obviously our 3-year-old and resuming this weekend. And she's been joined by Sun Worshipper, who's now just got about a head to a neck in front from Sweet Pretender, but there won't be much between them over the last 500-600 metres of this gallop as they make their way around the home turn now. So Kelsey Lenton, Sweet Pretender, filly by Hussein, Sun Worshipper for Nori Nishio, just getting ahead to the side a little bit on the outside. So Sweet Pretender and Sun Worshipper, and there'll be little between them when they hit the line, but if anything, Sweet Pretender's probably just nosed out Sun Worshipper in that gallop. Sweet Pretender trained by Will Crop, Sun Worshipper trained by his father Matt. Good luck to both, and Katie as well, with Sweet Pretender and Sun Worshipper aiming towards Weetwood Day, with Sweet Pretender nommed in the Magic Millions Guineas. So Marinaro and Nikau Spur out on the track now, both trained by Corey and Kylie Guerin. Marinaro's the new kid on the block to a degree. He's won his last 2 impressively. Nikau Spur has been there and done that. Of course, won the Beaufort at Newcastle. 3rd in a Premier's Cup at Eagle Farm. And had the one run back at a mile behind Cronenberg. But he ran well. He was only beaten 3.4. So good hit out that day, aiming towards his hometown cup. Of course, he was unlucky to go down behind Red Wave in the Cup last year. He was back and wide. He still attacked the line there to only go down about a head or so. Might bring some nightmares to the connections to relive that, but if he gets a bit more luck in the running this Saturday, could easily go one better. It was a terrific win when he won the Queensland Cup. Jimmy Orman, who of course is in Hong Kong these days. It was a wonderful ride on board Nikau Spur to weave home, and in the end he raced away and won by 3. And they said he couldn't win when he went to Newcastle. One form expert said, oh, ordinary Queensland stays, he won't be good enough, but he proved them wrong. He went down and won, and then ran 3rd in the Christmas Cup at Randwick before running 3rd at Eagle Farm over the summer. So had a wonderful campaign there, and he's since run 3rd in a Premier's Cup as well. So Ronnie, as they call him, Nikau Spur, second up into the Toowoomba Cup, hoping to go one better after being unlucky in the race last year. And he gallops behind Marinaro here. Gary Guerin's on board Marinaro. Corey Bayless on Nikau Spur. Marinaro had one run in New South Wales, well, not more than one run, but one run recently anyway in May, before being transferred north, and he's been in sparkling form since coming up here. He's won 3 of his last 4 and 2 in a row, so he's airborne at the moment. Marinaro, Gary Guerin's on board him, and in the Grant Goodrum colours, Corey Bayless on board Nikau Spur. He's a 9-year-old Nikau, but he's an old marvel. Unlucky not to win the Cup last year, aiming to go one better in 2025. And they fit that lock together, really. But Nikau probably just got his nose in front on the peg to win, I'd say, in that gallop from Marinaro. Good luck to the owners and the Corey and Kylie Guerin yard with those two. And be near to top weight in the Cup, I'd say, Nikau Spur. Of course, you can understand why when you go through his record. He's a rating 93. Kibosh is a 95, Cronenberg 97. So he might be number 3 or somewhere around there. He's obviously come back well, though. And if he can get back to that form he showed in that campaign there last year, of course he won the Beaufort and place at Randwick, he'd be awfully hard to beat in the Cup, the Tab Toowoomba Cup. Nikau Spur just edging out Marinaro from the Guerin stable, and good luck to all going towards Cup Day this weekend. Final gallop of the morning coming up here. Cryptolini, Brooke Mackey and Big Boy George Norrie Nishio, both from the Mark Curry yard. Cryptolini going towards the Guineas. Big Boy George, a bit like Chinchilla ahead, is nominated for a few races, so we'll see what happens when acceptances and barrier draws come out for George tomorrow to see exactly where he'll head. A Cryptolini, Brooke Mackey, Big Boy George Norrie Nishio. Our final gallop of the morning, both prepared by a premier trainer, Mark Curry. Nice horse, Cryptolini's only had the one start, but was very impressive in winning on debut at the end of last month. Had a quiet trial in a 3-horse field at Gatton before that, but the market knew he was well back when he won on debut, and he was impressive off the bag gate to win that day. So he'll be thrown in the deep end to a degree, but he looks promising, no doubt about that. We'll see whether he can make that step up in the Magic Millions Guineas this Saturday. Brooke Mackey riding. It looks like she'll work inside Big Boy George Norrie Nishio riding him. I remember a day meeting that he won here, Big Boy George, back in June. Oh, boy, did he put them away that day. And he's since raced well in Metro Company, that sprint final there at Corbell Park and behind Chowo Yu at Eagle Farm. And he's had a little fresh time. He's about 6 or 7 weeks off leading into this weekend. Had the trial in Brisbane. It was a hot trial as well behind the Big Goodbye and Hatchet. The Big Goodbye nominated for the Weetwood as well. Ex-Southern Galloper, Big Boy George. But, boy, he's in great form since relocating up here. And importantly with him, he loves Clifford Park. He's got a great record on his home track. We've really seen them put his opposition away when he's won here. He's some more experience out of the two in the Gallop. He's had 23 starts. Cryptolini's 1 for 1, but he looks very promising, the son of Encryption. And we'll go towards again. He's just his second race start. Debuted about a month ago. It was a big win, though. Show promise in the trial, was heavily back when he won. So he does look smart, Cryptolini. We'll see whether he can take that step up. He goes to the Guineas this Saturday at 1200. He won on debut over the 1100. As I say, Big Boy George, Norrie Nishio's riding here, about a length behind Cryptolini at the moment. The son of Showtime. He's a pretty popular galloper. He's got a good name, doesn't he? Big Boy George. And the punters have got behind him a couple of times here at Clifford Park when he's been impressive in winning. And he's got a few options with him where they go. He's nommed in the Class 6 1300, the 78 1200, the 70 13. So a bit like Chinchilla ahead, just play the waiting game to see where they go with him. And Norrie about a length and a half behind Brooke on board Cryptolini here. Regular strapper and track work rider for the Courage Stable, of course, Brooke. And Norrie on board Big Boy George, who's now starting to make ground on Cryptolini and stride up on his outside. Only a narrow margin between them, but George has got to a lead now, working outside Cryptolini. He's probably got about a half length in front, but Cryptolini with the inside running here. There's little between them as they make their way around the home turn. But Big Boy George in front. Got a narrow lead ahead of Cryptolini over the final 100 metres here. Big Boy George with his head in front, but Cryptolini's gone with him right on the peg, and they pretty much hit that lock together. Big Boy George, Norrie Nishio and Cryptolini, Brooke Mackey there, both trained by our premier trainer, Mark Curry. Thank you to all participants, jockeys, trainers, and thank you to our track manager, John Rutherford, as well, for his help on the phone. And that is Trackside with the Stars, our Weetwood preview. Good luck this weekend to all our local horses, trainers, owners and jockeys. And don't forget the barrier draw for the 1 Equine Weetwood Handicap and the Tab Toowoomba Cup tomorrow about 11 a.m. down on the QES deck. So we look forward to your company then. Been a beautiful morning, and that will be the case for the rest of the week. Track will be in tip-top shape for grand final day, and a beautiful day. Big crowd, no doubt, here this Saturday. So again, thank you to all, and we'll catch you at the barrier draw tomorrow.